Alright guys, this video we're going to introduce solving equations, which is a basic algebraic skill. Very important that we really understand this. This still is probably a little bit of a review. What you can take down, the basis of solving an equation is you want to use inverse operations. And what I mean by inverse operations, they're opposite of each other. Addition and subtraction, they're opposite of each other. And multiplying and divide, those are also inverse operations. So we're going to kind of use that to basically solve an equation, where you can see for the goal, in any goal in equation, you want to get a variable by itself or isolate the variable. And in order to get that variable by itself, we're going to use this inverse operations. And I'll show you what you mean by that. So we're only going to look at one-step equations. Now the first thing in doing these equations, we're going to set the precedence right now. Okay, I'm going to move this up. Make it a little bit bigger. All right. When I do number one, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a line straight down from the equal sign. I want to separate the left and the right side. And you'll see why it's going to be more important when we get to like 4 and 5 and 6 step equations. Now I notice this x is on this left side. I want to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of this negative 5. So I do the opposite. Since it's minus 5, I'm going to do the inverse of it. I'm going to add 5. So if I add that, negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So they cancel out. That's what I want. That gets x by itself. Now the equal sign, that acts as a balance. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So if I add 5 to the left side, to keep it balanced, I have to add 5 to this right side. And then negative 13 plus 5 is going to give me negative 8. And that's my answer, because I got x by itself. Okay, if I move over to 2, again, I'm going to draw the line straight down the middle. Now in this, I notice x is on the right side. So I really don't even care about this negative 2. I want to get rid of this 4. So since it's plus 4, the opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4. So positive 4 minus 4 is 0. That's what I want. So then I have x by itself. So if I subtract 4 from the right, I subtract 4 from the left, and I do this, negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. And that's my answer. Okay, I'm going to go down to number 3. All right. So again, number 3, I see that equal sign. I'm going to draw a line straight down the middle. And I'm going to look at the right side. Now this is a little tricky here. Remember, if you subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding. So I'm going to rewrite it as x plus 4. So that's how they try to trick you there. So once I do that, add a line, change the sign, then I know, all right, adding 4, I have to subtract 4 from each side. So just like that, I get x by itself on the right side, and negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. So that's the answer for 3. All right, so that's where, if you were adding in the problem, then you subtracted to get x by itself and vice versa. Okay, let's go down to the second section. This is where we're going to multiply and divide. We're going to use these inverse operations. All right, so if I look at 6, okay, I'm going to draw the line straight down. If I look at this, I'm going to ask myself, what am I doing with negative 4 and x? Since there's no plus or minus in between, then it's negative 4 times x. Well, since it's times x, the opposite of timesing or multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide by negative 4. Now here's the thing, negative 4 divided by negative 4, that's positive 1. And that's what I want, positive 1x. That's the same thing as saying x. So I divide the left side by negative 4, I'm going to divide the right side by negative 4. And then we just get negative 1/4, and that's our answer. Okay, that fraction doesn't simplify. Remember, 1x is the same thing as saying x equals negative 1/4. Okay, let's just do one more. Let's go to 7. Okay, now 7, all right, I'm going to draw that line straight down. And I'm only going to focus on this left side because it has the x. I can ignore this negative 30. So what I'm thinking, how do I get rid of this negative 5 so I just have x on that left side? Fraction bar. Fraction bar means division. So the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put kind of parentheses or grouping symbols. I'm going to multiply by negative 5 over 1. Now if you multiply these negative 5s, they cancel out. Right? They cross cancel, so you just end up with x equals, and then if you multiply the left side by negative 5, I'm going to multiply the right side by negative 5. So if I'm multiplying these two negatives, it's going to cancel out, give me a positive, and 30 times 5 is 150. So that's our answer right there. Okay, so these were all one-step equations, but the main thing is you want to get x by itself. You get x by itself by using the inverse operations.